Everything is burning around us, which is fine. It's fine. Hello, this video is brought to you in collaboration with the bookish brilliance of Penguin Platform. I've made a video on their channel in which I recommend a couple of books that I think... Did you hear that? Recommending some books to read instead of the news. So if you want to break this never-ending cycle or figure out how to navigate this new world, then have a gander at that. There's a link in the description. There are cards somewhere. I don't know how YouTube works. But while I'm here, I thought I'd continue the recommending spree, the positive spin, by recommending some books that I think will remind you that whatever happens, it could be worse. This is what counts as positivity these days. Go with it. Kicking off with a classic, relevant, topical right now. I know what I'm doing. The Handmaid's Tale. There's a Channel 4 series based on this at the moment, and I don't want to watch it till I've read the book, which I have never read up until now. I mentioned to a friend that I've been meaning to read it for years, and then she just did what all great people do, and she was like, give me your address, I'll send you one. It is mildly battered now, so if you're watching, Hannah, I'll buy you a new one. It's widely studied across the nation in schools, and for damn good reason. Some of you have commented on my Instagram saying that you're not enjoying it, which I understand. When it's linked to an essay, it's hard to really enjoy something, so I urge you to give it another go. I'm about halfway through right now, and I love it. I love the vividness. It's a futuristic one, but it's so linked to a world that we know. We're offered not just a description of how life for these people is in their contemporary world, but also how life was just prior to this regime taking over. And it really does sort of link it to our world. It anchors it in reality. And I love how it's kind of, and go with me on this, it's kind of urgent. There's an urgency to it, and yet it's also slow. Those two things are contrasting, so it doesn't sound like it makes sense, but it really does. Rowan actually made a great video about this and other books like it on the Platform channel, so I'll link that one in the description too, give it a watch. Next up we have The Circle by Dave Eggers. This is about to be turned into a movie starring Tom Hanks, which is always good, John Boyega, lovely, and Emma Watson, which I'm sold. So the central character, May, gets a job with a tech company, and she thinks it's idyllic. Here's the first line: "My God," May thought, "it's heaven." As the story unfolds, she finds herself buying more and more into the company's philosophy. She finds her views aligning with those of the company, but starts unearthing a darkness and these creepy truths unsheath around her. And it's about our obsession with the internet, which, I don't know, can't relate. You know how much I love a bit of satire, and this is it. The Sunday Times review on the back says that it paints a horrifying picture in minute detail of a future we'll be lucky to avoid. It could be worse. Let's do some non-fiction, shall we? Homo Deus, A Brief History of Tomorrow. I love that tagline. This is the the companion piece, volume 2 of Yuval Noah Harari's Mankind books. So with Sapiens you have a history of mankind, with Homo Deus you have a projection for the future of mankind. So what I'm saying is, you read both of these books and you know everything. That's it. Sidebar, both of them have a fingerprint on the front cover, and both of them are embossed, and I love a bit of embossing on a front cover. That's the sentence I've just said. So when I worked at the bookshop and I walked past either of these books, every single time I just had to stop and put my finger in it. I don't encourage drinking games, but I guess that was an innuendo, so go ahead. This kind of non-fiction can be quite threatening. It's a very heavy book, like literally it is heavy. But despite the density and all the things it has to say, it is a really accessible book. It's immensely readable. So if you've been looking to expand your non-fiction horizons, why not start with a little introspection? All right, here we go. There's nothing writers love more than a good counterfactual, and their most favourite counterfactual is pretending Hitler won. Man in the High Castle, Windsor Faction, Dominion, they love pretending Hitler won, and this is one of the most iconic examples of the Hitler is victorious counterfactual. It's Robert Harris's Fatherland. Robert Harris is a brilliant author responsible for books like The Ghost, Officer and a Spy, Chloe's favourite book, Pompeii. This was his first novel, and it is a political thriller of glorious stature. So we're in Nazi Germany in 1964 on the cusp of Hitler's 75th birthday, I think it is. Xavier March is called to investigate a dead body, and as he identifies the body, he uncovers this conspiracy which could go right the way to the very tip top of the Reich itself. It's got such a rich, well-plotted backstory, and the history is gradually revealed to you that explains how we got to the world that is present in the book. I love it when an author really knows their world, and Robert Harris is a master of it. And finally, I want to recommend a book to you called It Can't Happen Here by Sinclair Lewis. It's another counterfactual, this time set in Sinclair Lewis's contemporary period of the 30s. 80 years old, but as vivid and real as ever. It's about complacency in society, about what happens as a result of burying our head in the sand, and then what we do as people versus the state. So the basic plot is that a vain, brash, fear-mongering, anti-immigrant demagogue runs for president of the United States and wins. which is not the real world, is it? So anyway, those are my picks. I hope that you like them. There's a link for each of them in the description for you to peruse at your leisure. Also down there is the link to the video I made on the Penguin Platform channel. While you're there, check it out. It is a treasure trove of book chat and recommendations and competitions and just some generally great stuff. It's a brilliant hub if you're a bookworm or just a good conversationalist. Seriously, watch the channel before going to a dinner party, share what you learn, everyone will think you're great. I think I've given you quite enough to be going on with for one day, so I will love you and leave you. Take care, and I'll see you very soon. Why did I go Blue Peter at the end there?